Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a video all about ear stretching. I've been wanting to make this video for a long time, and I just recently kind of got my facts together and wrote everything down that I thought would be helpful for you. I really wanted to make this video geared toward people that are completely new to ear stretching and are intrigued by the idea but you don't really know how to go about it. I've definitely learned from my process of ear stretching and I want to pass that knowledge on to you guys. So let's get started. My ears are now at a 4 gauge. I actually just stretched these last night, which is really what inspired me to get the video done. This is my second hole in my lobe, so if that helps you at all, I hope it does. So just to clarify, I don't know anything about bondage tape or the method of taping your ears. I just know about using a taper, so that's what I'm going to go over. This is what a taper looks like. As you can see, it is called a taper because it is long at one end and bigger at the other end. It tapers from big to small. And this is a device that is used to stretch your ear. You insert the smaller end first, and then you gradually and slowly push it through your ear until you reach the end of the taper, and it goes all the way through your ear. After that, you follow up with your tunnel or your plug, and after you have your taper in, you will put your plug in that is the same size as the taper, the same diameter, and then you have your stretched ear. So just to back up and talk about tapers a little bit. First of all, tapers are not jewelry. You guys look like an idiot when you wear these, and it pisses me off to no end. You see those people wearing tapers and they're so bad for your ears. They're not jewelry and they're not meant to be worn for an extended amount of time. Basically, if you do wear a taper, it will cause uneven weight distribution, and it'll also cause your hole to be not perfectly balanced. It goes in not at an angle, but just the way that it's made and formulated and everything. It'll cause uneven stretching and stuff like that. It's just really not good to wear in your ear. So please don't be one of those asshats that's wearing tapers. It bugs me so much. Another good thing to remember about tapers is to try and use only steel or glass tapers. Most people say steel. I have used glass tapers in the past and they work just fine for me as well. You don't want to use an acrylic taper just because the material is not suited for a fresh wound, which is basically what you're doing when you're stretching your ear. It's just causing trauma to your ear, and the best thing to use is stainless steel because it will not affect your ear or harm it in any way. I would recommend finding a stretching kit online if you're trying to go all the way up. You can also find individual sizes, online and everything like that, but I would definitely stick with stainless steel or glass. Another thing to remember is not to stretch sizes no matter what your friend says, no matter what that girl on the internet says. It's really not safe and it's not good for your ear. Now, I think a lot of people have had kind of an easier stretching process than mine. My ears are very unstretchy, if that makes sense. It's been a struggle to kind of stretch up to where I am, and I have to go very slowly and delicately, and I see a lot of people that just want to stretch up 2 sizes, and that just makes no sense to me because your ears are very delicate. The skin isn't that elastic. It is, but you don't want to cause too much trauma. You could get a blowout, or you could cause, like a really weird hole, and it's just really not worth it in my opinion. If you are doing this right and you're stretching up to a bigger size, you are planning on having these for a long time. So I would recommend just taking it slow, and what's another, 6 or 8 weeks until you can stretch up. It's really not that big of a deal. So don't skip a size, guys. You heard it here. A good tip is that you are going to have to use some kind of oil when you are lubing up your ear, lubing up the taper to put it through your hole. I would recommend using a natural plant-based oil. I used organic olive oil when I was stretching, and that gave me no trouble. I recently have bought Gauge Gear, which I'll put a picture in here somewhere, but I'm sure some of you guys have heard of it. It's just kind of like a stretching balm that you put on your ears and you put on the taper before you insert your jewelry. I just used that to stretch up to this size, and I found that it worked pretty well, so I would recommend that if you are looking, to buy something. But I think coconut oil or olive oil worked fine. Olive oil worked fine for me, and I'm sure some people will probably shake their head, but as long as it's a natural oil, I think that's really what you want to go. Don't use petroleum products, don't use Vaseline, that's so bad. Just use a natural plant-based product. So another helpful tip is that if you guys are like me and you find that your ears are not the stretchiest, I would recommend doing it out of the shower, straight when you get out of the shower. If you kind of wash your ears in the shower too, that's good. The hot water just tends to kind of loosen up my skin and make it a bit easier when I am stretching. When you actually insert your taper into your ear, you need to go at a slow, constant, steady pace. Now, it will hurt. It won't hurt badly. You will feel kind of a tug and a pinch. It is, it's not a pleasant process. It's not a horrible process by any means, but you are stretching your ear, so it is going to be kind of a little bit painful. If you feel a sharp pinch, or if you see some blood or some intense swelling or puffiness, you need to stop immediately and you need to downsize to your last size. I know it is a bit frustrating if you are trying to stretch up, you want your ears to be bigger, but you really need to take it slowly. You only have one set of ears and you kind of need to take care of them, So definitely make sure to monitor your ears when you are stretching, and if you feel anything that is even slightly uncomfortable, that's like really unbearable sharp pain, you should stop and put in your smaller plugs. So people always say to take your taper. Once you put your taper through, you're supposed to pop it out and put the plug right in through after. Now, like I said at the beginning, I did have a bit of more trouble, I think, than most stretching my ears, just because they weren't very stretchy, and that happens to some people. Your ears just don't necessarily really like the process. So I found that sometimes I will leave my taper in for like 15 minutes just for my ear to get acclimated to the bigger size, and then I will put the plug through. I wouldn't recommend, sleeping in them or anything like that, but if you leave them in for a little bit, I think it's okay. It just gives your body time, at least for me, it gave my body some time to kind of acclimate to the new stretch. So once you're done, you're going to want to leave that plug in. You're not going to want to mess with it really for 6 to 8 weeks. You're not going to want to stretch up or anything. I waited at least 2 months just because, like I said, I did have stubborn ears, so it was a bit harder for me to stretch. So I would recommend, using your caution and your judgment, and if you feel like you're not ready after 8 weeks, you can always leave it in. There's nothing wrong with that, with going slow and steady. Another tip is not to use wood plugs, acrylic plugs, or silicone plugs until your body is healed, and I would also recommend not using those for an extended period of time. They're just not good for your skin's surface. For the actual piercing, it's not good for a prolonged exposure. So if you are using those once your piercing is healed, that's fine, but just make sure to change them out every day and kind of take care of them and clean your ears especially. For the aftercare, once you have a fresh stretch, you're going to want to take care of it with some H2O spray or some sea salt. Just kind of rub around it very gently. With a Q-tip, I would say once or twice a day. I normally do once or twice. Make sure not to touch them excessively with your dirty hands. Only touch them after you have sanitized your hands. And a good rule of thumb once you get in the shower is to just kind of wash your ears. If it is a fresh stretch, then obviously you're not going to want to be handling them. You want to keep them in. But after about a month or so, you can take them out and wash your ears in the shower. Another little last kind of tidbit here, guys. Do not call them gauges. I know I'm going to be such a little snob when I say this, but they're really not called gauges. A gauge is a size of measurement, a 14 gauge, a 6 gauge, an 8 gauge. It's basically just how you would say inches or mile. You wouldn't call your earrings inches, would you? It doesn't make sense when you call them gauges either. Technically, they are referred to as stretched ears, and what I'm wearing right now is a tunnel, which is where it's a not filled in plug, if that makes sense. A plug is a actual filled in little bit that you put in your ear, and a tunnel is hollow. So guys, I think that was it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. I'm sure I'm forgetting some things as usual, so if you have any comments or questions at all, leave them down below. I would love to get back to you and answer you. If you are not subscribed, please take a moment to subscribe. It would really help me out, and I'd love to welcome you here to the family. And if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And that's it, guys. Hope you're having a great day. Bye!